Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today we're going to be talking about the Rings of Power and how the actors and the whole thing in Amazon is just calling the fans racist. But we are going to have ample evidence of them actually legitimately saying this. The ratings of the Rings of Power and how they're failing to the House of Dragon, which I have not seen. And by the way, I want to be perfectly clear with everyone. I have not seen the House of the Dragon, and I have not seen any of you would say of what is it? What was that? What's the show that was previous to it? I know what it is. That show. I have not seen. I have not seen that. Oh, Game of Thrones. There we go. I have not seen Game of Thrones. So that being said, I haven't really seen that show, but I looked up the cast and stuff, and obviously it's doing better than them. So it is what it is, right? So we'll go directly into the articles. There's a lot of information here that we're gonna have to go through. I'll probably be reading one article, but going to skip through the titles a little bit here. So, without further ado, Amazon's The Rings of Power is not for purists or racists. A suspect a lot of families are going to be paraphrasing Martin Brody at the end of episode 2 of The Lord of the Rings Power and declaring, "We're going to need a bigger television." That's because Prime Video's new JR token adaptation is such a grand, lavish production that it simply must be seen on the biggest and best of screens, and most certainly not on a smartphone. I spent the past couple of years debating whether to get a new TV. Mine is 11 years old, which qualifies for a television museum, and Lord of the Rings has convinced me that now is the right time to upgrade. Of course, the show's grandness begs the question whether something is so cinematic should really be told on the small screen. Okay, so this, for instance, does not matter for them much. However, they're going on to say that obviously that they spent like a lot of money for this. I don't necessarily care about that. Now, so we're gonna do a trick here, people, because normally when we want to get rid of the fluff and get directly to the thing, we normally try to see of all the other crazy stuff that is happening throughout. So, it goes on to say the token geeks and racists are clearly finding things to moan about, just like the HBO's fantasy series House of the Dragon, and more. I'm more than happy to go along for the ride. Now I just need to decide what Steve decides to go for. So they're essentially they're just calling everybody racist, or the fans racist of the TV show, which is ridiculous. And we go here, we see that the Lord of the Rings of Power is 39%, 85%, and what have you. So that's not the case here. There is the people just hate this series in general. It's terrible. It's not canon. It's not really considered anything to be of remote of use because you try to put their SJW bullshit into it. Now, they also go on to say here that the Rings of Power cast slams racist threats against performers. Middle Earth is not all white. Well, it is because, well, first off, the cast says otherwise in actual lore. There's nothing wrong with the cast being full white. It is all white, and you're just trying to make it a racism thing where it doesn't exist. Because I will point out some movies that actually have black people in it or other races in it, and then you'll find out that it is legitimately good. It's like you people don't realize that you don't go and watch anime or view any of the anime because people have watched anime with black people or others in it. There isn't a problem. I may believe Kuroko no Basket, which did pretty well in the movie aspect of things, I may believe they were going against an all black people team, I think, because they were from the U.S. or what have you. So there was nothing really bad or racist about there. It's like you have to make good content. Another good example is if you go watch Iom, which is Eric G. July's type deal, which we'll do that real quick as well. Because if we go look at Iom, the Rippaverse, we go here because I have bought their comic, and we go look at the latest campaign and what stuff. He has garnered $3.5 million. This guy is black. He's black. Like what? last covers are black. If you look at the very first cover of Iom, it has pretty much just black people on the first cover. So this whole racist narrative type deal is not fucking working. You're lying to yourselves. Like I said, he's black. Lying again? So, a message posted to the party's Twitter accounts Wednesday strongly condemned racist reactions to the series' cast members of color. The statement emphasized that despite online criticisms to the contrary about J.R. Tolkien created a multicultural world in which individuals from different backgrounds and races could join the forces for good. That's not due to lore, though. So, that's beside the point. It has nothing to do with actual legitimate racism. Regardless of the ring of power, stand together in absolute solidarity against relentless racism, threats, harassment, and abuse of some of our castmates of color are projected on a daily basis. No, they're being criticized on either their acting skills or more along the lines of it not being truthful at all. That's what's happening. And by the way, majority of the cases is that the reason why they don't like it when there's actual like black people in the series is because it doesn't make fucking sense that some of these other races, not specifically the black person that's being portraying that character, is that race is not actually black. They're not a black race. So when you put in a black person for that race that is never actually black, yeah, you're going to have some problems. It's like making Ion when he was originally black white. It makes no fucking sense. Why would you do that? The character was originally black and now you're going to make him white? Why? People would have the same problem if they had a beloved character that was obviously fucking black, but they made him white. It would not make sense to the person that would be watching it. It doesn't fit the lore, it doesn't fit the universe, it doesn't fit anything. It changes everything. The message continued, J.R. Tolkien created a world which by definition is multicultural. A world which free peoples from different races and cultures join together. Blah, 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 blah. Already read this. So, the previously reported that views on Amazon have been suspended and make complaints from viewers about the show's diversity. Rings of Power currently holds a strong 80% approval rating from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but its honest score on the site is at a mere 39%. Yeah, because it's crazy. And of course, we stand in solidarity with our cast. Yeah, of course you do. And the stars are speaking about racism directed at the cast. We stand together against the relentless racism, threats, harassment, and abuse of power of our classmates, of ours be subject to, refused, or ignored, or tolerated. And they all go say, our world has never been all white, fantasy has never been all white, Middle Earth is not all white. So, it said, what racism? All people spoke of was the inconsistencies to the book and then the cast of a perfect Sinclair as an elf. Personally, I don't think that as racism, and I'm black. We need to stop playing the race card at every opportunity it's getting. It's embarrassing. It's disgusting that Hollywood continues to force diversity as a scapegoat to blame fans for racism when really the root problem is that the show is just terrible. Not only the problem of racism, but many sex dimensions imposing less prominence on female characters. Yeah, y'all, it's 2022, and we're beefing about fictional fantasy characters that are portrayed as white in a show. Left well, when the show fails, blame the racism, that'll work. Yeah, because obviously, you guys have to blame racism, because that's the only thing you can stand on. That's what always happens. Because when you guys obviously see the fact that there is, when you have black characters or any ethnicity at all into your series, you have to cry racism. It's a textbook thing. It's obvious. It's not hard to find out because when you guys actively go into when any of these shows of color, guess what happens? Or black people. I don't even like saying of color. I don't even know why I said it. Black people or any of the ethnicity, you have to scream racism when it doesn't go well. You always do that. Or when there's a female in it, you have to cry sexism. It's not hard because you repeat the same things over and over again. Stars are speaking out about racism directed at the cast. Again, so this is all this crazy stuff here. And then, Citronatus, I don't know how to pronounce that, is, a massive said they were delaying Wings of Power customer reviews for 72 hours, now 144 hours later, there's nothing still on their sites. The reason? Check the latest line for the credits of the show. This isn't about racist trolls, people just don't like the made-up crap they're selling. Exactly. MSO Studios thanks Simon Tolkien for his personal contribution in the role of series consultant. Listen. Tolkien would not want any of this, by the way. With the corporation of HarperCollins Publishers Limited, American Humane wanted the animal action. No animals were harmed. Digital and visual effects work undertaken in South Australia with the support of the South Australian Film Corporation. Post-produced and VFX is provided in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, with the assistance of the New South Wales government. The filmmakers acknowledge that the assistance of the New Zealand screen production grant, blah, 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 blah. So you kind of get the gist here. So, still no Rings of Power reviews on Amazon Prime Video, and this despite only registered customers with Prime subscriptions who've actually seen the show being able to post them. With a pathetic joke of a streaming service, talk about running and hiding from honest feedback. Exactly. They don't like they don't like the honest feedback. And yeah, as we've seen, why is Amazon suspending reviews for the Lord of the Rings of Power? They're suspending it. And now we have the House of Dragon beats the Rings of Power by a considerable margin. And due to this, we are seeing it obviously is that that they're beating the Rings of Power and by a good margin. So what we see here is that House of the Dragon is beating Lord of the Rings of Power and the Phantasy Star according to the new data. Both shows have been warmly received by critics so far. Parsema, a lot more households watch House of the Dragon episode 1 versus the Rings of Power episode 1. At both shows, first 4 days, House of the Dragon was watched by 4.8 million households, while the Rings of Power drew 1.8 million U.S. households. What's more, 2.6 million of those House of the Dragon house reviews were in the first 6 hours, too. Amazon Prime Video, that the Rings of Power brought in 25 million global views in the first 24 hours streaming, which is the biggest ever debut for a Prime Video TV show. HBO, meanwhile, declared just shy of 10 million U.S. viewers on premiere night. Cinema TV only measures views from certain TVs, however, which might explain the difference with HBO's own figures. It's not really bad news for the Rings of Power either. Again, using Cinema TV for years is the fourth biggest streaming show of the year so far, behind House of the Dragon, Stranger, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. House of the Dragon has already been renewed for season 2, while the Rings of Power will return for a huge 5 seasons. Whatever you say, look at a thing. Fantasy fans are the winners here. And we see that the House of Dragon, look at this cast. Obviously a different ethnicity. These are obviously not the same ethnicity of white people, so if you want to think white people are all the same, regardless. But look at this. Black, 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 black. There is black people here. There are black people in this series, and it's getting more views than the Ring of Power. Again, why are you crying black racism? There is no racism. Again, look at Easton with Rippaverse, and you see that he has 3.5 million actual revenue. And guess what happens? When that does well, when this does well, Eric D. July, that created this comic, got hate blasted by the far left. He got hate blasted and treated like garbage because of the series that he had, because this character happened to be black. But God forbid if our overlords, the far left, create something like this and it does terrible and does this, they cry racism. Yeah, we're seeing an obvious here. Your show's garbage. Nobody likes the source material. It's obviously not good. Why watch it? Stop crying racism, you fucking racist pigs. Because that's all you're going to be able to do. You are the true racists here. And you're also the people that I can't stand. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.